Hey man, you ever heard of straw bale gardening? Come on, I want to show you something. What's up, Brew Crew? Opie here. Welcome back to my Brew City Garden for day 10 of the straw bale conditioning process. That's right, we finally reached the finish line of the straw bale conditioning process, and I couldn't be more excited. But we still have one more step for our conditioning process, and that is to add an all-purpose balanced fertilizer to each one of these bales. With all the high nitrogen fertilizer that we've added already, that's helped the microbes and the bacteria to break the straw down into a wonderful growing media, and it left a lot of residual nitrogen in the bale, which is great for plants. But we still need to get the potassium and the phosphorus in these bales. So what we're going to do today is come along and add 1 full cup, or about 200 grams of an all-purpose fertilizer of your choice, and then we'll come back and water that in just as we have been doing with 1 gallon, or about 4 liters of water. So now not only will we have a lot of nitrogen in these bales, but we'll also have the phosphorus and potassium, the macronutrients that these plants need and love. And let me tell you, they are going to take off like you have never seen. So what kind of fertilizer am I using? Well, I'm actually using the cheap stuff. It always seems to work the best anyway. So I'm using the Twin Pines brand. I think it's a 10-10-10 or a 12-12-12. It really doesn't matter. It's just a balanced fertilizer. And at this point, you could use pretty much any balanced fertilizer that you want. I know Espoma makes a very nice garden tone, or their tomato tone works very nicely. And there's several other brands. And you can switch over to organics now if you want, or you can, however you want to do it. At this point, it doesn't matter as long as it's a balanced fertilizer. There are several brands out on the market. You choose which one works best for you. All right, guys, it's pretty simple, but let's go over to the garden and I will show you exactly how I add this full cup of all-purpose fertilizer to my bales. All right, so again, now that we are on day 10 of the straw bale conditioning process, we're going to add 1 full cup, or about 200 grams of an all-purpose fertilizer to each bale, and then we're going to come back and water that in, again with the same amount of water, approximately 1 gallon, or about 4 liters of water. I'm just using the Twin Pines brand. It's just a very cheap conventional fertilizer. You can see that it has a different look to it, but basically it's just the same granular type of fertilizer as the high nitrogen fertilizer was. This particular fertilizer is a 12-12-12, which is 12% nitrogen, 12% phosphorus, and 12% potassium, which will work just perfect for day 10. So again, I'm just going to add 1 full cup, or approximately 200 grams of this all-purpose fertilizer to each bale. That's 1/2 a cup, and another 1/2 a cup. And then we'll come back and we'll water this in with 1 gallon, or about 4 liters of water, and that's it. That completes the active part of the straw bale conditioning process. So if you made it to this point, congratulations. We're well on our way to having an awesome garden this year. All right, guys, just like every other day, easy peasy, there was nothing to it. Now, fortunately for me, or maybe unfortunately, I don't have to water my bales in because it's been raining pretty much nonstop. Actually, over the weekend, we received 2 to 3 inches of snow that were dumped on these bales, and I didn't cover the bales at all. I just let it snow on top of them, and afterwards I recorded the temperatures just to see what effect the snow would have, and I still had bales up at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just insane. So we definitely took care of the job of conditioning. This is probably one of the better conditioning years I've had yet. So as far as that's concerned, man, I couldn't be happier. I get the feeling this garden is going to be epic this year. So with it being day 10, this is the last active day of straw bale conditioning. And what I mean by active day is this is the last day we're going to come through and add the amendments in the fertilizer to these bales to help break them down and help get them nutrient rich to be conducive for plant growth. However, we're not done yet. We can't quite plant in these bales yet, only because a lot of these bales are just far too warm. They're too hot. So if I try to put a transplant in these bales, it would probably just cook the roots. Or if I tried to sow a seed, it would cook the seed and make it not viable. So the very last part of the conditioning process is really just waiting for these bales to cool down. Now, I like my bales to be at 90 degrees or lower before I put any seeds or transplants in these bales. Now, if you don't have a thermometer, don't sweat it. Just shove your hand in that bale. You can typically tell just by feeling, you know, if it's comfortable for your hand, it's probably going to be comfortable for a plant as well. If you stick your hand in there and it's still fairly uncomfortable or a little bit warmer than you think would be good for your plants, then don't transplant yet. Wait for those bales to cool down. It's going to pay to wait an extra day or 2 or 3. That way you don't end up killing off your transplants or wasting seeds. Now, if you just have to get started, what you can do is come along and put down a layer of just a thin layer of soil or compost on the tops of the bales, and you can actually sow your very small seeds as long as they're staying on top or towards the top of the bales. So things like carrots or beets, just small shallow seeds, you can go ahead and sow those now, and that's not going to hurt anything at all. But your larger seeds that need to be pushed into the bales, or any transplants that need to go into the bales, you really want to wait for those bales to cool down. All right, guys, thanks again for joining me today here at the Brew City Garden, and I appreciate you joining along with me for this straw bale conditioning journey. And if you've made it this far with me and you still haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that button so you can follow along with the Brew City Garden for the rest of the 2019 season and see just for yourself how incredible this gardening method's going to work. Now, I know a lot of you guys are already following along, so make sure you keep up with me in the comments and over at our Facebook group, the Global Straw Bale Gardeners Collective, and show me your videos, show me your pictures. I want to see the success that you have so that we can share in this season's growing bounty. All right, guys, it's time for me to get out of here. Go put your all-purpose fertilizer on your bales, and until next time, we'll see ya. Oh, there you are. Ah, I can't see you guys. Whoa, come on, man. Ugh.